Welcome to UVTV, motherfucker. I'm here to kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. On God. Nia nigga for feather me yeah. Today I'm gonna be talking about how black and white culture is utilized to turn people into mental slaves. Right? So mental slaves putting you onto a colony and then based upon different making and materializing different types of entertainment, making it materialize when it comes to education and business and politics and religion and culture and language and stuff like that. How they be turning y'all into mental slaves by y'all getting lost into some type of adultery or idol worship of some iconography of something they already created, so you could look at that as an example to be a walking star, a walking example, or walking emanation of what it means to be part of black and white culture and stuff like that, and how they put y'all in a black and white type of program, so they make y'all look at everything as black or white, this or that, or a checkerboard system and stuff like that, but they moving y'all as chess pieces in general from them making that structure and that foundation in the first place based upon the what's this the like the new world order of the ages and stuff like that. So like bringing motherfuckers on boats and stuff like that, and also coming on boats and them being in foreigner type of thinking, but also using the different practices they learn from traveling around the world into different actualization, so they can be the white face or the black face representation of what the fuck that look like for the most part. And it's always going to be some type of left right, right wing, left wing, but they still part of the same bird and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So you still taking flight inside their mentality, their spaceship, the way how they look at the world and their worldview, instead of you making your own worldview. And they be making these different terminologies by racializing y'all, and y'all be conflating nationalism terms with ethnicity when they're not the same thing for the most part. That's why they even come up with terminologies like racializing something. From them racializing you and trying to identify you, so they have some type of thing to call you and stuff like that. They're pulling you in a certain colony, they're putting you in a certain settlement so you can get put into a certain section or a way of thinking and have different representations or things that look like to y'all as representing y'all people that's not y'all people and it's not y'all culture. So in general, right, I can start off with black people and stuff like that, right? Now that black terminology is something we got called. You know what I'm saying? And it was an evolution point from them calling us Moors, right? From the interactions they were having in Africa and those people at the time and stuff like that. So the Sahara type of people, or northern African type people, and people in the Middle East and stuff like that, and Berbers and things of that nature, right? It evolved from Moors, right? And then them coming up with that terminology when it comes to Africa and stuff like that, even with the K and shit like that. And then it went from calling motherfuckers niggers and Negroes, and niggers just represents Nigerians and people from the Niger countries and stuff like that, that they also name and identify when they started bringing motherfuckers on boats to fight their wars and stuff like that, and making people slaves and putting them on plantations and stuff like that so they can do their bidding. And then it turned into Negro to colored people, and that started during the 1900s and stuff like that. Then it evolved into black people and black representation and speaking up for black voices and black culture and things of that nature, right? But black culture is a subset under white culture and stuff like that. But so it's like it's the same way how y'all look at today when it comes to the political system in this in America and stuff like that. When it comes to Republicans and it comes to Democrats, and being right wing and being left wing, being conservative and being liberal in some shape or form. So being traditional or being progressive, but y'all part of the same bird. It's two different wings. Y'all part of the same bird. So it's kind of like one is more intelligent into this way of going about it, and this one is intelligent of this way of going about it. But they created a platform for the other wing to still keep that thing going and keep flight when it comes to that allegory that I'm trying to use as an example and shit like that. And then we already know English is just a bastardized Latin, and using a whole bunch of different terminologies when it comes to, I mean, using like a whole bunch of different languages combined with you know what I'm saying, European languages and stuff like that. So England man speaking, so that's English, and then you have Germany and Portuguese and Spaniard and stuff like that, and Native American language and stuff like that. And then they just combine a whole bunch of different words and vowels and terminologies and stuff like that to make the new language as English. So English is really more like a pidgin language because it's just an interpreter language, so we can understand what the fuck we talking about. But it's not made, you know what I'm saying, by a specific group of people based upon their own culture and stuff like that. It's a accumulation of a whole bunch of different people's language and native tongue and stuff like that to make a new native tongue out of that, just in general. So it's more of a pigment language than like, oh, it's a language that got created by a certain group of people and stuff like that around a different culture, around a different village or whatever, and stuff like that. Like yeah. So when they be calling y'all black and white people and stuff like that, that's what turn y'all into mental slave and stuff like and things of that nature, because they have a real westernized aristocracy elitism type of mindset and stuff like that based upon colonization and capitalism, right? And only people, that's why, just in general, right? Because I know y'all like being on that anti-Semitic type of wave and stuff like that and blaming everything on the Jews and stuff like that. No, they just want to put you into a position to where you're crippled mentally, emotionally, and physically, to where you can't get propped up like the Jews, so you can be like them, and y'all have some type of generational wealth and nepotism going on when it comes to you and your people and y'all nations and territories that y'all make for yourselves for the most part. So based upon them putting y'all in the crippled type position, that's why when it comes to Jews and things of that nature, it's not some type of ethnicity and stuff like that. No, it's just like that's why they say it in like a real ethnic religion type of way. You know what I'm saying? Based upon that terminology. That's why you could be a Jew and be a part of the Jewish program, but you could be Asian and you could be Mexican or some shit like that, or you could be African, but you can still be a Jew for the most part, because it's a character, it's a ideology for the most part, and based upon them turning that ideology into a theology in some shape or form, and them using that as like a God-given thing, right? They look at God like a deity. So you're going to war and worshiping that God that they done created, and they putting you onto a colony based upon them trying to putting you into a certain program and thinking based upon their worldview in the Jewish mindset. So the Abrahamic God and the monotheism God and stuff like that, and the Holy Trinity and things of that nature, is to make it so they have their own shape and form of how that look like, so you can be into their world and their atmosphere, instead of you making your own world and your own atmosphere and your own way of looking at it for the most part. So they can strip you away from your own spiritual natures and understanding naturally or organically of how to be yourself, so you can be something that they already are being and stuff like that. So you can look at that deity like it's an entity. You can only get all possibilities through that deity, instead of looking at yourself and your internal natures and your spiritual natures, and you being yourself, and you naturally going will resonate with you, and you resonate with something based upon that already got created. And the only way you could be successful, or the only way you could be with God, is by going into that program in some shape or form, based upon what they manifest and they materialize to be as an example. And that's how motherfuckers end up getting into the industry and get institutionalized and be a part of their universities and stuff like that. Their universal worldview of how they want to look at education in some way, shape, or form. So that you getting educated in your own way. So from you getting book smart, and reading their books and stuff like that, instead of creating your own outlooks, and your own books and stuff like that, you get indoctrinated by reading their doctrines, literally. So that's where that whole white supremacy and black supremacy mindset even be coming from in the first place, or that white nationalism or that black nationalism and stuff like that, or that systematic racism and stuff like that. They be doing that to themselves and stuff like that. So anybody who even under that white, you know what I'm saying, white face, white supremacy type of concept and stuff like that, they be doing that to their own people and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all be thinking, oh, okay, it's like if you're a white person, you're gonna have it easier and things of that nature. And then when it comes to any other race and stuff like that, they can't get up and ascend into that light and stuff like that. No, they'll allow other ethnicities and make you like run around like you Jay-Z or something like that, and have some type of handler and be some type of black capitalist. But from them even coming in that name and terminology, oh, black history or black nationalist or black supremacy or black representation or black culture, that's them putting y'all into some type of urban colony and stuff like that, to make that make sense. So from them putting y'all into some type of settlement of what they called y'all, in the name of the description, they're calling y'all, from you going more deeper into feeling like, oh, I gotta ascend into this light because I gotta represent my people, because this is black culture and this is black representation and stuff like that. You're representing something that y'all got called, and y'all are agreeing to that terminology and stuff like that. And that's how they turn y'all into mental slaves, by getting lost into that culture, which they culture is being cultureless or just doing some degenerate shit. It's taking you away from your own way of looking at it, so y'all can have your own gatekeeping territory, or having your own way of going about it for the most part, to where it don't get super capitalized on or marginalized or gentrified in some way, shape, or form. Because you're getting lost into a color spectrum. You're getting lost into a hue. So the same way how humans able to see a whole bunch of different color spectrums, like how the background of my wall is brown and stuff like that, and then this shit is burgundy, and then my ceiling is white with the popcorn ceiling and shit like that, and I'm wearing a red Levi t-shirt and things of that nature, right? You're supposed to understand all color spectrums based upon our perception with these two naked eyeballs and stuff like that, right? So based upon those different color spectrums and stuff like that, those different colors represent different feelings and emotions and stuff like that, right? So the same way how you look at green and you think of growth and nourishment and stuff like that and growing, and you see red and you think of, oh, I'm seeing red, oh, I'm seeing anger, I'm seeing aggression, I'm seeing passion, I'm seeing motivation, I'm seeing division, I'm seeing fire and stuff like that, for the most part. Or the same way how y'all be saying brown, and when you see brown, you think of shit, or you think of dirt, or you think of earth, or you think of territory and stuff like that. You think of building, in so much shape and form. I'm just making a whole bunch of different examples for the most part, but right, that's what y'all doing. I mean, that's what they're doing when it comes to white and blackness, and they putting y'all on a checkerboard system so y'all can look at everything as black and white. So when y'all be trying to, oh, we're representing pro-blackness and stuff like that, or we're representing pro-whiteness and stuff like that, for the most part, they're just putting y'all into, or all the way down to the Black Panthers or something like that, they're just putting y'all into different descriptors and different categorizations and characteristics and stuff like that, so they know what they're dealing with for the most part, because we're still using England native tongue terminology and stuff like that, and from the fact it's an accumulation of a whole bunch of different languages and stuff like that, y'all are always gonna be lost into their outlook of how to look at it, unless you know how to separate what it is and look at it as like a tool to utilize. So the minute you realize and have that awareness of, oh, they're utilizing these things as a tool so they can capitalize off of something for a monetary gain, then you can separate between the black and the white culture. You can separate between, oh, this motherfucker is cooning or something like that. So from them making y'all getting lost into a color spectrum, y'all get lost into the light. If you want to make it a religious allegory or something like that, the light is just information. The light is like a vision. The light is like a thought, an idea, or something like that. A light is a lighter shape and form. That's a mentality, and that's your first body, your light body. Your light body is your mind, your thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions, and then your physical body is your physical, and it creates the blood and the flesh and the adrenaline and the veins and stuff like that, and the different organs and stuff like that to make us be materialized into the flesh and us being human, and make different pockets of awarenesses and membrane and memory breaks and cells and stuff like that. So they're putting you into a certain jail cell spiritually and putting you into a magic square paradigm to where you get lost into one single box of what they're calling you. And the minute you start going outside that block, that box and stuff like that, you go outside that color spectrum, that's when it start looking like some goddamn, like you some conspiracy theorists, or you looking like you crazy or some shit like that, or you looking like you going against your own people and stuff like that, when from them putting you into that colony in general and stuff like that, and making you marginalized, and it being gentrified, it being mainstream, aka the mainstream of consciousness and stuff like that, it automatically turns into some type of deity, some idol worship, some adultery, some capitalization and stuff like that, some monetary gain, something they want to extract the fruitfulness from and stuff like that until it's super drained from its essence. So it's low vibrational, not high vibrational. Okay, I can make that make sense, right? So if it's being more low vibrational and stuff like that from it being paid attention to, that means it's low hanging fruit. Oh, so it's something that everybody is into, and it got generalized in so much shape or form, instead of something to where it can still stay into that creative productivity type of space, to where you can create more because it still represents the people who originally made it. So the minute it becomes more dense and condensed and low vibrational and stuff like that, it got taken away from the original starting point of where it came from. You get what I'm saying? So look at that as a motherfucker who just isn't that creative or something like that. A motherfucker who get lost into a memory of who they used to be, instead of being some new refreshing thing now and stuff like that. So you're old news or something like that. You acting like You acting old in spirit. You acting dry. You acting deteriorated. You acting stubborn. You acting stuck in your ways instead of trying to find some new creative attribute or new creative ability and capability or talent or skill. You getting lost into this skill you already done did instead of making some new way how to go about it. So look at that as, oh, they're making some new technology and we're on the goddamn iPhone 17 and your ass is still on the iPhone 5. You get what I'm saying? You're not adapting. You're not updating. So it's the epitome of trying to update some, no, not update. It's you trying to keep motherfuckers in a colony in a certain section of that certain iconography of what something used to be, and you're just trying to keep up with that trend line of reasoning for profit in some shape or form. So you don't want motherfuckers to have a new way, some new imagination, some new vision, some new talent, some new productivity, some new industry, some new way of how to marginalize that thing, some new type of monetary gain and stuff like that. You want motherfuckers to keep doing it in the old program, in the old way. You don't want no new way of how to go about it that has nothing to do with the old way. And if it has something to do with the old way, is trying to update it in a new shape and form that's way more productive instead of you trying to cash in on your esoteric coins of something that got super old and outdated and that worked in the old world. And we're not in the old world no more. We're in a new world. You know what I'm saying? So it's like something that got uphold and something to do 50 years ago, but we in 2026. That don't work in 2026 because it's 50 years later. What's the new thing? So yeah, we understand representation, but find a new way of how to go about that. And then eventually, right, we're gonna see and compare and contrast, oh, okay, that's not the proper way of going about that thing, because that's the only time it worked. It only worked in the 80s. It only worked in the 90s. But in the 2020s and stuff like that, it's not going to work like that no more. You know what I'm saying? We see the failure, the fail-safe of that example of doing that thing and where it led to. And it led to nothing, you know what I'm saying, profitable and stuff like that. It was just a consciousness wave. It came and went. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that's actually going to be long lasting. It's not going to get no legs to stand on. It's not going to have some grand legacy. You're going to look back on it and it's like, oh, that was a lot of degenerate shit. That was some very immoral, ungodly ass shit. Why was y'all doing that? It just seemed like y'all got validation issues. It seemed like y'all were just doing that for the sake of attention or something like that. You get what I'm saying? So that leads into what I'm saying with the whole black and white face thing, right? And black and white people and black and white culture and stuff like that. And y'all trying to identify as, oh, this is my people and this is my culture and stuff like that. When really you're getting lost into a color spectrum. When based upon the esoteric rainbows and stuff like that, look at someone who's very colorful as someone who has a lot of creativity or has a lot of visions or has a lot of imagination, and they know how to do that and be the walking representation, the walking star of what the fuck that look like, and stay in that seat, stay in that creativity, stay in that sweet spot and stuff like that. So they ain't getting lost into a certain mentality of how to think about it, how to feel about it. They make new mentalities. They have a new shape and form of how to look at it, and they ain't getting lost into the bodily physical shape and form, how that look like. So they ain't getting lost into the flesh. They ain't getting lost into a certain type of attention. They ain't getting lost into the monetary gain in making $1 million and stuff like that. They're more into the creative attribute and the artistic merit, and they'll utilize that money for something important. So you can get that motherfucker $1 million and they're actually gonna use it so they can create more of that thing instead of using it for things that's unimportant and getting lost into a political climate or something for the most part, because it's gonna come and go. It's a political climate and a temperament. But we make the temperament, we make the temperature and stuff like that. The same way how y'all look at climate change and stuff like that, but that's a different video. So we're changing it. We're making it what it is. So the minute you start getting gentrified and you start getting marginalized and it start getting low vibrational, aka it's starting to come more like condensed and stuff like that, and you getting lost into the physical and you getting lost into the flesh, you getting lost into living to a certain point in time, right? The same way how humans, their bodies start to slowly die and deteriorate. We're going to end up dying someday, so they'll let you know what's actually important. So you can make $1 million, but you can't take none of that shit with you after you dead. So what does that say? What's more important when it comes to the spiritual space that you in, right? What's actually more nourishment for your soul, and how to help different souls being guided so they can be saved instead of putting themselves into soul sleepers or something like that. Or they end up dying and sacrificing everything they're doing based upon their lifestyle, and you realize, oh, I did all that for nothing. You know what I'm saying? It actually didn't make me fulfilled. It actually didn't make me satisfied in some shape or form, right? Because it was just a monetary gain, and I got lost into the external world of the tools and technology that get made from the body and the flesh, when I know this body is going to die one day. You get what I'm saying? It's the same process. So you always going to come back, but you need to come back in spirit first so you can make a new mentality so you can come back in the flesh. But in general, they put y'all in positions where y'all act basically like really immoral or really degenerate or really cultureless. Okay, you're not cultivating your own way of how to go about it and have your own type of culture, because they make y'all do it in reverse. Y'all be thinking, oh, because they made $1 million or they're a billionaire, they're doing something important because they have that luxury and leisure, but you're getting lost into the flesh and you're not utilizing it for something important to help everybody, and you can make that more relative and relatable and in sync to do something more for the people, instead of getting lost into some aristocracy and elitism and stuff like that, which in general, that's all you doing, because you're getting lost into the industrialized complex. You get what I'm saying? And you getting lost into your mind because you're getting lost into a program of how to think about something instead of making your own way of how to think and feel about that thing. So y'all end up working in reverse, and then y'all end up fulfilling y'all space, y'all spirit, y'all creative abilities with the flesh instead of doing it the other way around. You get what I'm saying? You ain't trying to actually come up with some type of dream and imagination that you you ended up coming up with and stuff like that. You ain't getting lost into the external representations. No, it came from the inside first. So you doing things from the inside out, not from the outside in. They putting y'all into a position to where y'all crippled, so you going based upon the outside in. So you think, oh, because a motherfucker got $1 million and they can and they got a chain and a whip or something like that, and they got 1 million bitches and shit like that, that they're doing something important. When in general, you can see based upon what they represent, they're just getting lost into the flesh instead of learning different ways to experiment and go through different experiences of creating more for themselves, and they can represent their people in a way better formulation and stuff like that, right? So you can just look at that as like capitalism or something like that, or getting lost into a monetary game. So the more you learn how to come into individuality, and you ain't riding another nigga dick or riding a homegirl coochie or something like that, and esoterically sucking somebody dick or sucking her coochie or something like that, and getting lost into idol worship and giving it so much like idol worship, like I just said, for the most part, and creating your own way of how to go about it, and get around people who are also in the same sentiment as you, not trying to appeal to people who you don't know, who ain't of your background and your culture and of your people and stuff like that, and appealing to strangers, because that's all it's going to turn into. You just appealing to strangers who you don't know like that, and y'all did not grow up in sandbox, and y'all did not grow up from a can of paint. You get what I'm saying? Like, the more you have a better way of seeing it from a broader state of being, so you don't get lost into a sector in description and anthropomorphizing something, and it take away the genuality and the authenticity of what something started as, and you end up being low-hanging fruit instead of putting yourself in a perspective to where you can be a real melanated being. So what is that? So you can have all the colorful imagination and stuff like that. You have more plump type fruit, so you're able to take a seed and it's able to grow, and you able to be a part of the Garden of Eden and stuff like that, because you end up growing your own seeds, your own agriculture, your own plants, your own ideas, your own imagination, your own culture in general. So it take y'all out of that perspective of getting lost into a certain color spectrum and shit like that. I'm gonna get into that now. So, right, when it comes to black, the same way how y'all look at the color black and stuff like that, right? Black represents lack in hue, aka lack in color and brightness, and is light absorbing. So when it comes to black people and stuff like that, right, all the way down to when they be saying different conversations, oh, it's a black woman God or something like that, y'all getting lost into an emotion and feeling, because the same way how y'all look at black, y'all look at it as something that got dark, or it got diluted, and it got clouded, and it keep getting mixed up, it keep getting muddled and stuff like that. So the same way how when you be painting and stuff like that, right, and it got different colors, when you add a whole bunch of different colors to something, right, you add a whole bunch of reds and then blues, and then the reds and blues end up making purple, and then you end up adding green, and you end up adding yellow, you end up adding a whole bunch of different colors, right? And you know how eventually it starts turning into black, right? From y'all coming into name of that black color spectrum, it makes y'all dark, because it's a whole bunch of different color spectrums combine into one to where it's dark and it's clouded and it's light absorbent. It's lacking brightness. You can't see what the color spectrum is because it's too dark, because you have too many different colors going on and stuff like that. That's the energy vibration y'all be riding when y'all be saying, oh yeah, I'm doing this for the sake of blackness. No, you're just getting lost into a color spectrum. So when you come into the name of blackness, you're just getting dark and clouded and mixed up and diluted. And you're lacking hue, you're lacking color, you're lacking vision, you're lacking imagination. You're getting lost into the flesh, you're getting lost into the body. So that's why when y'all be seeing a whole bunch of different black representation and stuff like that, right, y'all get lost into the material world and the monetary gain and the representation of what that is, because you plan off of something that some white person that already done crafted, right? So that's why y'all end up propping up a whole bunch of different degeneracy, or y'all end up propping up something that already got created and they make a deity out of it, right? So look at that as religion and the Christian God, right? Or look at that when it comes to the different entertainment industries and stuff like that, and them making y'all into superstars and stuff like that, and y'all end up being cosplayer for their industry that y'all didn't create in some way, shape, or form. Or y'all going for Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as political figures and stuff like that because it's black representation, right? But it's still their political system in general. It's the American way of how to go about it, and the only reason they're in that position is based upon colonization and capitalism. They're just capitalizing off of y'all, and they need real people to do that, to make people give a fuck about it, which is why they get different entertainers and different figures and different politicians and different social media influencers to make y'all give a fuck about it in the first place. And black representation and black civil rights, because we want to vote, because we want a voice too, and we're gonna vote for this, that, and the third. When y'all not realizing they're making y'all a part of y'all system in general. So y'all think y'all doing something, oh, we're going against the white way, how to go about it. But y'all only doing it for you and y'all people, but you can't see it no other way type shit. So y'all end up doing some black supremacy shit that's better supported by some white supremacy shit. Y'all only learn that type of thinking from white people because they're you know what I'm saying? Because y'all want to say they the white devil and they the most cultureless motherfuckers, but y'all are profiting off of that culture in general because they give you a platform for that. Like, you get it? Like, so like all the way down to Martin Luther King or like Malcolm X and stuff like that. They still had a suit and tie. They still had to be Baptist or something like that. They still had to be in one of their programs and stuff like that. Because they know motherfuckers be thinking in a certain way, right? But they just putting y'all into different categories. So they using y'all origin skills so y'all can make more people a part of that ethnicity and that race, aka black people, into mental slaves by putting out certain rhetoric and making that a mainstream thing. They be doing that on purpose. They know what's going on the entire time. They know what's going on the entire time. You know what I'm saying? It's only aristocrats and elite motherfuckers who be understanding, oh, that's what they be doing to y'all. They be making y'all mental slaves and stuff like that, and putting y'all into certain sections and certain colonies and certain settlements and stuff like that to make y'all think a certain way. So you can be into one of their worldviews that they're pumping out in front of y'all when it comes to Disney Channel or TV and Real Housewives and Atlanta and reality shows and stuff like that. They're trying to craft a realm of reality for y'all to be in, so y'all can't think no other way. You get what I'm saying? So you can look at that as, even if you did have a real motherfucker who's saying some real spirituality or some motivational speaker or some orator who actually making some real sense and stuff like that. That's what that terminology when it comes to, oh, that motherfucker sold out and stuff like that. Or, oh, it used to be like this when I was living in this city, aka what's going on in Atlanta right now, and everything's getting gentrified and stuff like that because they want to make it so they can have different businesses so they can profit off of what this area used to be like and stuff like that. It used to be something for the people and it was a local community thing, but now they're turning it into a thing to where they're trying to attract more people because they want to add more capitalist type of propaganda and things of that nature so they can get a monetary gain. I'm never trying to say that's bad. I'm just saying that's how they think while being in that position and stuff like that. That's why they be doing stuff like that just in general. So all the way down to, okay, the color spectrum when it comes to white. Now, white is without color, so it's more into the thoughts and ideas, right? And it's without emotions and feelings behind it. So it's gonna be the lighter shape and form. So you could look at that as how they be doing different symbolism and representation and iconography when it comes to angels and stuff like that. So how they be sharing, oh, this is pure, or this is innocent, or this is this is very fair, this is very clear, this is very transparent or something like that, because it's something before it got mixed and muddled up. You get what I'm saying? Before it got clouded. So the same way when it comes to having a clear white canvas and stuff like that, a clear white canvas before you start painting, you add in a whole bunch of different color and color spectrum and stuff like that. So from it being without color, that means it shows, oh, y'all the people without culture. You get what I'm saying? Without the culture. So you have to cosplay as something to even make motherfucker care about y'all white supremacy or y'all capitalist views and stuff like that, y'all American dream or something like that. So y'all European colonization tactics and stuff like that, because y'all the people without culture. You need to be around motherfuckers who have color, who have imagination, who have visions and stuff like that. So white people, when y'all be coming up in this type of white supremacy type of mind state and stuff like that, and I'm representing white people and things of that nature, and I'm gonna be racist against the black people, and then when the black people go against the white people, and I'm trying to represent the Black Panthers and the black nationalists and pan-Africanist type of shit, right? And I'm being you know what I'm saying, the Black Lives Matter because of this, that, and the third, right? Both of those things are used as tools, as sops and mental slave tools and stuff like that, and templates and things of that nature to put y'all into a different colony based upon the manuscript. They're trying to put you know what I'm saying, the manuscript. So men and women, black men and women, and white men and women, and we're making a script. We're gonna write that shit down because we're trying to make motherfuckers into different colonies and settlements and mental slaves and stuff like that. So if you we're gonna racialize y'all and shit like that by some name that we made up for y'all. So even when it comes to their old people, they do that to their own people too and stuff like that. Especially when it comes to middle class and poor people and stuff like that, right? If you're not a part of their little elite way of thinking and stuff like that, they be putting you on to mental slaves and shit like that, so they can use y'all as examples and to throw the book at y'all and stuff like that. So look at Jeffrey Epstein and stuff like that. Y'all consider him a white person, and they was inside their system and shit like that, but look what they doing to him and using him as a face representation of what not to do. And you know what I'm saying? They throw the book at him and stuff like that. And that shit is super degenerate and immoral and stuff like that. But y'all wouldn't even have this country in general unless y'all did some shit like that. But that's a different video. But you get what I'm saying? They do that to their own celebrities. They do that to their own business people and stuff like that. They just using that to capitalize off of y'all because they like playing God. That's it. In God we trust, our providence and stuff like that. He's favoring our undertakings and stuff like that. The shit y'all be seeing on a dollar bill and things of that nature. So for the most part, right, when it comes to white people, right, it's going to turn into without color. So it having without color, they get lost into the thoughts and ideas and stoicism and stuff like that. And then when it comes to black people and lacking hue and brightness and shit like that, they get blinded by the light. Literally, they get blinded by the light because they have too many light spectrums. They have too many thoughts. They have too many ideas. And it turns into a feeling and emotion. It's a transition. It's a color spectrum. Whiteness is a color spectrum and blackness is a color spectrum, right? So based upon that specific color spectrum, y'all get lost into that different transition and stuff like that. The same way how red and blue turn to purple and stuff like that. It's a transition. That's why when y'all look at a rainbow, it's different transition or different colors and it's reflecting off of something, right? So that's how y'all self-projecting and reflecting off y'all internal mirror and what it shows when y'all coming into that name in so shape or form. So if you represent black people, or you're lacking hue and brightness and stuff like that, you're absorbing light, so you're getting clouded. So you just looking for any type of representation because you getting lost into a certain emotion. You get lost into a certain emotion and feeling, and that's how they can throw chaos magic on y'all, and they start playing off y'all emotional behaviors and stuff like that. So they like, oh yeah, let's make Trump let's make a video or some shit like that. I'm just using this as an example, right? Yes, let's utilize Barack Obama and put his face over a monkey, and we're going to make Trump post that shit because they're going to get our rise out of black people and stuff like that who think in a certain way. Because, you know what I'm saying, they was doing that back in the day when it come to coonery and minstrel shows and like basically dehumanizing black people and shit like that and making them equivalent to monkeys and mammals and shit like that. You get what I'm saying? But they utilize that as like a psyop to get our emotional arisement out of y'all. You get what I'm saying? Or they'll start self-projecting different stereotypes onto y'all. So look at that as the angry black woman or some shit like that. Or BBC or Ebony and shit like that. Or Mandingo or some coonery or some shit like that. Or some Uncle Tom or something like that. Or you want some white approval or something like that. When the whole thing just in general is the program. The whole thing in general is a style. The whole thing is in general turns y'all into mental slaves and stuff like that in a lighter shape and form, because y'all gonna be in search for the light. So from y'all being in search for the light, some type of vision, some type of information, some type of representation, some type of example of how to look at something, right? From y'all trying to get some type of representation, y'all getting muddled up and things of that nature, and y'all get lost into some type of emotional arousement. That's why it'd be so easy for y'all to get turned into mental slaves. You know what I'm saying? All the way down to physical slavery and shit like that. That's why they be using y'all for slavery for a whole bunch of different things, and be using y'all as different voodoo dolls and coons, and y'all can be representation in y'all industry for their celebrities and stuff like that, right? So, you know what I'm saying? So that's why they turn into iconography when it comes to Jay-Z or Beyonce or Kanye or Nicki Minaj. And then down the line, you start realizing, oh, these motherfuckers just be doing some coon shit for white approval and attention seeking and stuff like that. And they completely go against their culture and their people. But that's the point. That's the point though. Like, and then a white supremacy program and stuff like that, and the people without color and stuff like that, without imagination, without creativity, you know what I'm saying, without vision, without dream and imagination, and you have to be around other motherfuckers who are way more capable of doing something. They have way more talents, they have way more skill sets, they have way more capabilities than what you got. You have to utilize them as cosplaying because you lack something. So it just turns into, oh, their only talent is cosplaying and marginalizing and capitalizing off of something because they can't do it. They don't got the imagination. They don't got no color spectrum. You know what I'm saying? They don't got no attraction type of qualities of being themselves and stuff like that. They don't got no spirit. You know what I'm saying? So from the fact they lack light, they lack brightness, they lack insight, they lack foresight, they lack, like what I just said, imagination and shit like that, right? You know what I'm saying? From them being so cultureless, that's why they end up capitalizing all off of a whole bunch of different cultures, because they lack that. They can't be that creative. So they're going to utilize a whole bunch of different ethnicity and races all the way down to capitalization and colonization and stuff like that, right? It's the same thing when it comes to that. That's why it turns into marginalization, and they need real creative individuals or real influencers or real walking stars representation of what the fuck that look like. And the only way they can do that is for them to be the actual representation of how that look like is, oh, they have to get a gun. Oh, they have to kill motherfuckers. Oh, they have to make motherfuckers slaves. Oh, they have to put motherfuckers in a colony and stuff like that, because they can't have no creative attribute to look at it a better way, right? And they have to make motherfucker, they have to dehumanize. They have to make a motherfucker feel like they less, because they feel like, oh, well, we conquer y'all in the physical and stuff like that, but you only on a highway to hell because you just self-projecting, what you self-reflecting about. Oh, I don't have the ability to do something when it comes to my creative gifts and talents, and I don't know how to self-reflect right, and I don't know how to deal with my insecurities, and I have validation issues, so I'm gonna be valid by killing a motherfucker, or I'm gonna feel valid because I made that motherfucker into a mental slave and shit like that. But you're just showing what you lack because you have no vision, you have no color, you have no fucking spirit and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You lack imagination. You know what I'm saying? You just lost into your mind, and you're using something based upon the flesh to justify in so shape or form. So it's like, yeah, you just doing degenerate shit, and you trying to utilize, you putting motherfuckers into different columns and programs, and you justifying it in so shape or form. You get what I'm saying? So in general, right, this is how they turn black and white culture and utilizing it to turn people into mental slaves and to put them in a certain category and a color spectrum of how to look at the world, instead of you making your own worldview. So the minute you start seeing, oh, Black Lives Matter, it being the mainstream and stuff like that, and we got to push that propaganda and stuff like that. The minute you start saying, oh, Black History Month because of this, that, and the third, and we're going to show the history of black people and African Americans and stuff like that, and us bringing them on boats, and we're trying to give them type of grace and giving them a speaking voice and stuff like that. You start seeing on a checkerboard type of way of looking at it, and you look beyond the black and white, and you can see what it is in totality. You start seeing the whole generalized concept, right, of how they be utilizing different people in general and stuff like that. So they be needing coons and stuff like that. Oh, they be needing degenerate ass white people and stuff like that, right, who has some type of talent and ability to make people more attracted to the industries and stuff like that, instead of you getting your own shit together and stuff like that. And I know motherfuckers gonna look at that and they like, oh, well, black people got that, we got HBCUs and stuff like that, but that education system or that institution or that historical way of how to go about, not historical way, that university or that institution and that education in general got crafted out of their institutions in so much shape and form, because it's always going to be represented by some type of fraternity. It's going to be represented by some type of knightly order. It's going to be represented some type of religion when it comes to Christianity or some Abrahamic God in some way, shape, or form. You get what I'm saying? It's going to be represented by their symbolism. It's always going to be represented by some type of Masonic way of how to go about it for the most part. All the way down to the Masonic symbolism with the different degrees and stuff like that. They want you to be in a certain climate, a certain temperament, a certain degree, a certain position, instead of you putting yourself in your own light, in your own position, and you creating your own culture and your own way of going about it when it comes to you and your people, because you can't control a motherfucking mind. You can only do some type of alternative motive or mental manipulation to program motherfucker to think in a certain way so you can be looked at as the all-knowing deity and our providence and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone got their own sentience and everyone got their own mind and stuff like that. But we trying to learn how to bring God on earth, aka all possibilities, to where we can all have our subjective point of view and we can make some new objectives and stuff like that. They're trying to get y'all lost into a certain objective and objective point of view, and you have no type of subjectivity, individuality, creative merit, or authenticity whatsoever. So in general, in actuality, y'all need to start calling yourselves something that's beyond just that white and black terminology and stuff like that, and start calling y'all people like different ethnicities and stuff like that. So you could take that as Native Americans or Mexicans or Puerto Ricans and stuff like that, or different type of European countries and stuff like that, like Germans and stuff like that. Even though they already got their own thing, but like I'm saying, like people in America right now and stuff like that who be identifying as black and white people and stuff like that, y'all need to stop letting them call y'all that, and Africans and stuff like that. You need to stop letting them call y'all that. Cause I already explained the evolution of like what the fuck they calling y'all. Y'all need to stop letting them call y'all that. Y'all need to set up y'all own little thing with y'all people where y'all made an agreed upon term that's not black and white people, so they can stop using y'all as mental slaves, so we know who they're talking about. We know who they're talking about. Oh, we're talking about these specific people who think this specific way. Yes, it's representing the ethnicity, but it's something outside of their program of how they look at it. So look at that as y'all have to create your own languages and stuff like that. You have to create your own language of what y'all called yourselves. Because we're speaking England terminology and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with making some type of interpretation and word and stuff like that to identify what we're talking about. But y'all need to come up with your own language and your own words and stuff like that, and your own phrases and your own sentences, your own thing, you know what I'm saying, language in itself, so we know who they're talking about. So the minute y'all end up saying that word, okay, you're only talking about those people. You're not talking about black people. Oh, when y'all white people make up y'all own word and stuff like that, even though y'all kind of already got them and stuff like that, all the way down to Americans, even though y'all got to stop calling yourselves that too. You know what I'm saying? Because you just cosplay off of Native Americans and stuff like that, right? In their whole entire culture, and y'all just trying to be the new white face representation, Jesuit Jesus Christ, or what the fuck that look like. Y'all got to stop doing that. So the minute y'all start coming up with your own terminology, your own language, your own word in general, your own, you know what I'm saying, terminology of what y'all want to call y'all ethnicity and y'all races and stuff like that, y'all can point out, oh, okay, these just the racist motherfuckers because they still calling us this term and stuff like that. It don't got to turn like what they call that, derogatory. It don't got to turn to like cooning. It don't got to turn into like, oh, it's just some nigga because this and the third. No, it's gonna turn into, oh, we're talking about those people and this is the new terminology. So the minute, you know what I'm saying, like the minute we start going away from that term, motherfuckers gonna be sitting there all like, oh, why do you motherfuckers start calling themselves something and stuff like that? What happens to that black term? I thought y'all want to be pro-black and the Black Panthers and black nationalists and pan-Africanists and stuff like that. And it's like, no, we're making up our own thing outside of that program that y'all calling us in the English language that's just a bastardized Latin. Instead of y'all making up your own, you know what I'm saying, your own thing outside of that, and then that becoming the new norm. And then it's never going to go too far to where a because we still going to have crazy motherfuckers who still going to try to gentrify and still going to try to marginalize, but it's not going to be on such a high percentage scale to where y'all ain't going to get mixed and molded up and be found for anything type shit. And they can just be saying anything, and then y'all just going to believe that shit. You know what I'm saying? And you can identify, oh, who's being a mass manipulators and stuff like that, and who's trying to play God and stuff like that, and who the motherfuckers who actually represent or what that is from actuality and authenticity and genuality for real and stuff like that. And then y'all bring it back to the people, and we doing some things for the people for real and actuality, instead of listening to some charlatan who just know how to talk a real good game, but we know you just there for a monetary gain, and you trying to utilize motherfuckers as mental slaves so you can be the face of representation without actually having your actual culture behind you about everything you got going on and stuff like that, because we made up that thing. For black and white people, y'all made up that thing just in general.